The University Student Union is a nonprofit organization that is governed by students. So it's really unique that I get a new boss every year. And I'm teaching and training students, and we are responsible for supervision. Coaching was the element that was really missing from the training, because a lot of times we'll do just training, but then we don't do the follow up, which I think coaching is really the follow up and getting at more of the underlying issues that are really preventing you from being your best you, whether that be professionally or personally. There's something special about Gail. And I think the thing that's most important is she is a deep, intuitive listener. And through her listening, she really is able to get below the surface, because a lot of times in presentations and trainings, we talk at a very surface level. And she is able to dig below that and really address the emotional, personal issues that sometimes are preventing us from really digging in and trying to figure out what's blocking. Gail is excellent at that. And I think that is really what makes her stand out from other trainers. My main goal was to be a more effective person and a more effective leader of a team. My organization grew substantially over a period of years, and I found out I could not have the hands-on touch points that I used to have. And therefore, I needed a different skill level because I knew I had good people around me, but I also saw blockages in them that were preventing them from moving forward. And I wanted to create particularly a safe space for people to explore those kinds of issues in a confidential way. And that's what a coaching does. But I also wanted us to have joint training, collective training, so that everyone could be on the same page. So presentation skills was one of the things that a lot of people have a fear about public speaking. And we wanted to address that in the organization, because we know leaders are more effective when they can tell a story and when they're comfortable in front of other people. And Gail has been able to really help people develop their confidence by using specific strategies and helping them test the waters, and gives homework in a good way and gets people to actually practice what she's talking about. And you can see people actually physically gaining confidence through those exercises that she develops. So I think it's a combination of things. I wanted to be a better leader, but I wanted to be a better person and a leader for my team. And I wanted them to be able to develop their leadership skills so that they can impact the rest of the organization. I think it's important for leaders of organizations to have ongoing coaching responsibilities, because it keeps us accountable. Because things can go well for a period of time, and then there's a crisis that happens or something that happens in your personal life that may get you off track. And coaching helps to really ensure that we're going in the right direction. We all need course correction. And Gail has a gentle manner about doing that and helps us to see different perspectives or correct misunderstandings about things that I thought were correct. And where did I get that from? Some of the messages that you carry forever. So with our staff, we also bring her in several times a year, depending on what the topic is. I might recognize something, or another member of the team, staff are still having problems in this particular area. So she customizes everything that she does. And I think that makes her extremely valuable. And we're able to actually pinpoint the specific things that are really impacting our team in a negative sense, and then giving them the strategies, the tools, the practice the accountability to actually develop their skills in a whole different way. And I've noticed that the team has been more productive, more effective. They have a greater satisfaction with how they're contributing to the organization and how they're serving students. So all of those things have been critical in terms of us deciding to work with Gail over a period of time. I'm thinking of a couple of different individuals that had some skepticism about coaching in general and confusing coaching with therapy and didn't want anybody looking at them or didn't want to expose any of their vulnerabilities or anything like that. And I think one person in particular had a lot of skepticism and concern that whatever they shared would be shared more broadly with other people. We talked about the relationship between a coach and an employee, and that information does not get shared with anybody else unless that person, the individual being coached, chooses to do so. And they tested it. And for the first couple of sessions, I think it was more difficult because I don't think they actually believed that it was really confidential. But once they came to see that it was confidential, they were able to address the issues that they wanted to. And I actually saw growth and development in them. People who, particularly around executive presence and public presentation skills, where people just were not confident. And Gail gave them some very simple techniques that had to be practiced in order for you to get more comfortable. One of the things that I remember specifically is during COVID, when we had to move from the in-person environment to the digital environment, the trainings that she did to help us move swiftly into that area, into that arena, and how we could still engage with our audiences was tremendous. Even me, I love to teach in person. I'm not a digital kind of person, but I learned some things that I still use and can adapt to keep students engaged and other people, making it more interactive, and then always wrapping it up in a way that you hit them with something in the very beginning, you give them the content, and then you come back with the other piece at the very end to reinforce what you've just done. And then you give them a takeaway. Gail is really good at synthesizing information, and she has the ability to connect things that you think are not connected in terms of your emotions, particularly when you're presenting, because if you have a fear, that fear comes out. So she's figuring out ways to address that so you get more comfortable, because speaking in public is about confidence in your subject, but how do you present it in such a way that people will listen? So she just has that ability, and I think it's innate in her, but it's because she listens such a deep level. And then she intuitively can figure out, oh, this person needs this. I think one of the greatest things about Gail in her training is that besides customizing it for a team, she also recognizes that individual people need different. And she is able to give them and address this person's issue is maybe about confidence. This person's issue may be about eye contact. This person's issue may be about increasing their level of engagement with others. So and I don't ask me how she does it, but she does. I think the other thing is, of all the people that I have worked with, and we've been in my profession probably about 40, almost 45 years. So I've worked with people all over the country in different aspects and different training and development and coaching. What I noticed about Gail is that she may come with a plan of how she's going to address something, but if something happens, she is very nimble and she can change direction to address that need. And I think that's really helpful, even with the naysayers. She has a way of pulling them in on an emotional level so they are seen and heard. Because most people, the reason why they're turned off is they don't think that the person respects them, or they don't think they have anything to learn. So if she has a way of pulling you in and connecting with that on a very deep level, that really helps. And then people are invested because they believe she is invested in them. Gail has the ability to address issues with individuals in a group setting in a way that doesn't demean or diminish them. And comes from a collectivist and compassionate way of doing that. But there are also times when, after the session, that we will talk and communicate. This individual person needs more. Are you willing to work with them if I can get them to agree to work with you? And we also offer opportunities for our entire staff. We send out an email at the beginning of each semester and explain what Gail does and the way in which she does it. Tell them that it's a confidential session, that they can have as many sessions as they would like, as long as they get permission from their actual supervisor. So some people do it because they see they would like to explore coaching and training, and other people do it because we ask them to address a particular issue. So it happens both ways. I would say the biggest value and benefit of working with Gail Green as a coach and as a trainer is she has the ability to delve beneath the surface to really get at issues that are blocking you from being your most effective self. And some of those issues are personal, and some of those issues are professional. But what I have found is that most of the time, those personal issues are the things that are the hindrance for you moving further ahead. And Gail has a way, a very compassionate way of addressing them and leaving people whole. And I think that, to me, is the greatest value besides the skill set that she brings. So to have the skill and the compassion all wrapped up in one individual that is nimble and can see and adjust as needed, I don't think it gets much better than that. In all honesty, I think all groups and organizations. I know she has worked with for-profit corporations, large ones. I know she has worked with nonprofits and smaller organizations. And because she customizes it, she can work with all of those different levels. And I think if people really invest in training, Gail is not a one and done trainer. I think she is committed to the client. And if the client is committed to their staff and their own development, and that they can see the value of people growing over time, that's the kind of client that she would like to work with. I think she's incredible at that.